As you know, world leaders have gathered at the gates of Auschwitz concentration camp in Poland to honour and commemorate those who survived the Holocaust and, of course, remember those who did not. Here's the latest from Sky News UK.
And where better to remind people of unthinkable acts than at the death camp's great gates. Here survivors gathered, some with family, others carrying ghosts of the past, to bear witness to one of the greatest crimes in history.
In autumn, they started the construction of the gas chambers and the crematorium. It was no longer a POW camp. This is when the killing machine started its operation. It's difficult to calculate all the people killed here.
A final act of respect for the dead, candles carried by the living. But for some, the emotion got too much. What was done here cannot be healed. And many know they will never make this journey again.
It is so difficult to comprehend that human beings could do that to their fellow human beings, but so important, therefore, that we remember it, learn from it and make sure everybody knows about it. Let me bring in Alex Ryvchin from the Executive Council of Australian Jewry, who joins me live from Auschwitz. Thanks for joining us again, Alex. Good to talk to you again. As I said, it's so difficult to comprehend this industrial scale ethnic cleansing and hatred of Auschwitz. Tell me about you as a member of the Jewish community, what it's like to confront the actual physical dimensions of this place and comprehend what went on there.
It is, Chris, as you say, I think beyond human comprehension. And you stand there, you look at the physical remains of the camp, the barbed wire, the signs in Polish and in German, the remains of the crematorium, the gas chambers, and you contemplate the 1.1 million people that were brought here in cattle cars and were exterminated. The fact that all human ingenuity and enterprise and everything that mankind is capable of was applied towards exterminating people as quickly as possible. It's obviously just one camp here in Poland. There were 6 purpose-built death factories built throughout this land, and 3 million Polish Jews and 6 million Jews in total perished in the Holocaust. And it's beyond human comprehension how we could do this. But there was a very clear, discernible process from dehumanization to ghettoization, the plunder of the Jews, and then ultimately in a country like Poland, where they had lived for 1,000 years, where they comprised 30% of the urban population, there are no more Jews left. There's just ghosts in this place. It's tragic to be here.
Alex, I think the thing that's most sobering and most cautionary about the Holocaust is to remember, of course, that this wasn't perpetrated by people that we would single out as violent psychopaths. This was perpetrated by ordinary people in Germany in particular, obviously in Poland and other nations as well, somehow got swept up by this orgy of hatred and went along with the crowd. And to me, that's such a warning to all of us now to be wary of the darker elements of human nature.
It's so true, Chris. And, you know, sometimes you look at the images, the photos of Waffen SS and other Nazi operatives, and you try to study those faces and you try to see evil or some signs of sadism that they could be capable of such things. But the reality is that they're indistinguishable from the people who acted heroically during the Holocaust. I visited this village called Józefów when I arrived here in Poland, where a reserve police battalion of Germans from Hamburg, these were guys who were too old and too fat to actually serve in the Wehrmacht or the SS, but they dragged 1,500 Jews, men, women and children into the forest, made them dig their own graves and murdered them in pits. And then after the war, they went right back to their jobs as truck drivers and postal workers. These were the ordinary of the ordinary. And these were the people who carried out the Holocaust throughout Europe.
Alex, what makes me very hollow, what makes me feel very hollow in my gut about the commemoration this week and the attendance of so many world leaders is that they are doing this at a time when Hamas still hold Jewish hostages now. There are people, some of them already dead, others fearing for their lives, still being held as a result of similar anti-Jewish hatred now. Why isn't the international community ensuring that ends tomorrow?
Because human beings sadly don't change, Chris, and we vowed after the Holocaust never again. And when we saw on October 7 armed men going house to house, murdering Jews, we saw once again the same images of Jews cowering in forests, pleading for their lives and being executed in cold blood. And we can't recognise the evil. People apologise for it, they seek to justify it, they seek to contextualise it, and then they blame Israel for reacting to it. We vowed never again, but we've let the people down. And one of the most moving things that I heard last night from the Holocaust survivors was about Israel and about the critical centrality of Israel to ensuring that the Jewish people are never left vulnerable, that this never happens to our people again. And I think a lot of people can come here and pay tribute to the Holocaust and the victims and the survivors, but they don't get what Israel is. And Israel is the central guarantor that the Jews will never be victims again.
Alex, congratulations on you being recognised by the Australian newspaper of one of the Australians of the Year for your advocacy on these issues, and thanks so much for joining us from Poland. Alex Ryvchin there so much, from Auschwitz, outside that concentration camp, a history that's barely comprehensible to the rest of us, but we must remember.